medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Everything you want, everything you need, got the taste you love, anywhere that you may be. It's the Caribbean flavor. Shirley biscuits make me happy.
Shirley got it all about the flavor. Shirley never let me down. And I lime it at the beach on the town. Shirley biscuits always feel like home.
Everything you want, everything you need, got the taste you love, anywhere that you may be. It's the Caribbean flavor. Shirley biscuits make me happy.
Shirley, the Caribbean's favorite biscuit.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Welcome to Voices here on 1FM 98.9. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 23, 2022, and I'm your host for today's edition of Voices, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining us on today's Voices. Of course, we're live on the internet. You can check out our Facebook page at Win Media SKN. We're also live on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Of course, we have our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204, where you can send your questions and your contribution to today's program. And we will be taking your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. That's 466-0989, 762-0989. Welcome to Voices here on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. I trust that you guys have had or have been having a wonderful week. And I trust that you're looking forward to doing some more great things today. We are in the middle of the week. I think for the most part, we are making it. We're going to make it to Friday, and we will be back here again. I have a short interview that was done today with Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, him speaking on the COVID-19 situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the fact that it is basically, well, we have no active cases, and that the situation is, more or less really under control, and some of the changes that were made and recommended by the COVID-19 task force, and approved by the cabinet of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I'm going to play this clip for you shortly, and we'll have a short discussion on that, some of the changes that were made, and we will go from there. Him speaking on the COVID-19 situation, some of the changes that were made in terms of testing and arrival upon testing and all of that. Of course, with major entertainment events coming up like Culturama, Music Festival, these activities, of course, the general public, would want to hear more on what the plan really is for these events to happen. So we'll give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll have that clip from Dr. Cameron Wilkinson. Stick and stay. We will be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
I believe our success in the fight was due to the fact that we here in health and at the task force level were given the latitude to make decisions based on scientific evidence and facts as they unfolded, and it was devoid of any political interference. I want to put on record, therefore, my commendation to the Prime Minister of the Federation, the Honorable Timothy Harris, and his cabinet for their astute leadership that they provided during this crisis. We called for an all-of-society approach in this fight, and many responded. we were able to unite the country for the most part in an effort to defeat this invisible foe for which we had no blueprint of past experience to guide us. It was because we remained united in our efforts that we were successful. And I do believe that as we begin to emerge from the stranglehold that COVID-19 has had on our everyday life, that it will be our combined efforts that will take us into a successful post-pandemic era to the benefit of every citizen of this federation. I said, therefore, a big thank you to all who stepped forward and assisted when our nation faced its darkest hour. And it's my hope that all enjoy the sunshine of our success as we move forward. Well, we have gotten through the worst period of this pandemic relatively unscathed compared to many nations, great and small, far and near, with only 42 deaths, many of which were preventable. Today, we have 0 patients hospitalized in St. Kitts and Nevis. The COVID wards have been closed for near 4 weeks on both islands. We have 0 active cases in St. Kitts and Nevis, and one of the highest adult vaccination coverage in the region without a government mandate, with about 82.2%, I think it is, of adults with at least one shot, and 77.7% fully vaccinated. We now have, I believe, sufficient level of population immunity through vaccination and infection to absorb more risk and move forward boldly but safely. I will say that hard work, persistence, and consistency paid off. Again, I want to thank all those in health, including our health minister, the permanent secretary, the CMO, and all the members of the task force headed by Mr. Samuels, and anyone who was involved in this fight, and the general public for listening and responding to our calls in our united effort to fight this deadly virus. And so I am very happy, and I believe that every resident or citizen in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis should be happy where we are at right now in this fight. Yes, well, like you and others, I read the information that was posted on the government's website about the post-cabinet briefing. So what I'm saying is nothing that is confidential. It is public. And it spoke to, one, the return to full in-class learning and the removal of the shift system that was still in place for a couple of the larger schools. We know that education is important and nothing beats in-class learning, so I'm very happy that these children will be returning to school during the regular school hours, and the stress and strain that it would have put on the parents and guardians is going to be removed. It also spoke to the amendments that would be made soon to the entry protocols, where we would see removal of the PCR tests and it being replaced by the negative antigen rapid tests that should be done within 24 hours of entry. This will make it more convenient for a number of persons, as the rapid antigen test is quicker, cheaper, and will be more readily available. So the bottleneck that was placed by some in terms of getting a negative RT-PCR test within 72 hours of returning, that would not be there. Of course, if you have a negative RT-PCR test within 72 hours, you can still present that. But the good news is that the antigen test will be accepted, and I believe that the date when this change would be made should be announced soon. And lastly, it spoke to the green light that was given to the hosting of the Nevis Culturama in a near normal style.
My last question to you, Dr. Wilkinson. With all the relaxation in restrictions and 0 cases, it would appear that the pandemic is over. Is the 4th wave over? Is the pandemic behind us?
That's a very good question.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Buster, roll it up, meet the thirst quencher in my cup. If you have one, hold it up and say, Buster, but the colors in my life. Refreshing and nice, and I drink that we like. Buster, you're full of vibes, living for the color. I know black and white, we do what we like. We live to enjoy life. Buster, hold it up, different flavor. Load it up. If you have one, hold it up and say, Buster, but the colors in my life.
Decided what to eat yet, hun?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
TDC Financial Services. We're here for you to help you make your dreams come true. Whether your needs are big or small, we'll support you with them all. TDC Financial Services. We are strong. TDC Financial Services. This is where you belong.
TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Right, welcome back to Voices here on Win FM 98.9. It's 21 minutes past the hour, and you're tuned in to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The interview got cut off, but we'll try to get it back on later so that you can get the full context of it. We're going to head to the phone lines and we're going to take some calls. Let's take our first call for this morning. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Devon.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm great, thanks.
Good. This is Journey. Let me say good morning to all hearing my voice. The clip you just played with Dr. Cameron Wilkinson. This is my take on this, Devon.
Mm-hmm.
I am aware that WHO is now having debate as to how they're going to tell the world that we no longer have to be wearing the facial diaper. They're having debate, and anyone can check it out. The question we need to ask ourselves, Devon, have they achieved their agenda? Because from the beginning, from the get-go, from when COVID started, it was an agenda. And the narrative is, well, to each their own interpretation. Because, Devon, for the past 2 years and going forward, all that we got, all that we receive, was the agenda came from them. 70% herd immunity, it went to 80%, and then, well, if they were satisfied with that, they now strike to the future. The youths have to be vaccinated. Devon, you or I don't know what can be happening 10 years later. I'm saying this to say that those who have taken the vaccine, if you have taken the vaccine, Devon, and you don't have a family, you haven't begun a family yet of your own, the question we need to ask ourselves is how our infant going to be born in. Because let us go to what's been happening in India and other African countries where, without calling any name, those philanthropists who who have been pushing agenda in India and Africa, the evidence is there. So now that the World Health Organization is having debate as to how they're going to tell the world that we no longer have to wear the facial diaper, let us ask ourselves, have they achieved their agenda? Again, most of us don't ask the hard questions. We just go with what was handed to us by those, the educated among us, those who have received their education, their Western education. Because when they receive that certificate, they tell them, well, we're going to allow you to push our agenda. Our lawyers, our doctors, our governor generals, the educated, and now the Christians. Devon, we need to wake up, because this is a war on every sphere, and we are the majority globally. Sorry?
Yeah, what do you suggest that we do at this point?
Devon, give me a moment. I've been saying all along, because of we being divided, slavery destroy us, religion have divided us. Ignorance control us, and truth scares us. Let me repeat this, Devon. Slavery divide us, slavery destroyed us. Religion divided us, ignorance control us, and truth scares us. We cannot cripple this misery until we get knowledge of ourselves and unite. Because, Devon, those who divide us have no interest in our unity. Ever since this pandemic, I've been doing some research, Devon, because it took my livelihood away from me for the past 2 years and going forward. And I've been researching. And you know something, Devon? The deeper I go into the rabbit hole, the darker I see what was taken away from me, in the sense that all that they gave us in religion is their own narrative. It's a misery. And on the spiritual side of it, Devon, what we call gospel is a gospel they have given us. And we gravitate to it hook, line, and sinker.
All right. Well, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution. We have to take some more calls now, so we'll end this one with you. We're still taking your calls here on 1FM 98.9. Please call us at 466-0989. I was playing a clip for you guys earlier with Dr. Wilkinson. It got cut off. I'm trying to get the second part of it. So we'll have that played very shortly. So let me take this quick break and I'll pull up that clip for you, for those of you who did not get to hear it.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet.
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
And getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Everybody loves a farmer, and so does the TDC Home and Building Depots. For the entire month of March, get 20% in savings on all agro products. Then, on the 26th of March, join us for the Farmers Market, where you can get your fresh produce direct from the farm to your table in both locations from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. TDC Home and Building Depots, supporting communities, supporting farmers. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Everything you want, everything you need, got the taste you love, anywhere that you may be, is the
Caribbean's favorite biscuit.
Right, welcome back to Voices here on 1FM 98.9. We are taking your calls here today. Call us at 466-0989 and 762-0989. We are also on our WhatsApp at 662-2204. That is 662-2204. We're heading back to the phone lines and we're taking this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devon. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm great, thanks. And you?
Yes, I am here giving God thanks, man. It's good. It's a good thing when you know God, you know. I want to commend Dr. Wilkerson, Dr. Laws, and the team. And it is amazing. You see, if you're looking for facts in a rabbit hole, what do you expect to find in there? What do you expect to find in there? You know the story with the rabbit hole and all of that. What do you expect to find in there? You know, last evening, I asked my phone to play some Haile Selassie videos. And a book came up. It has a number. It was as far as chapter 8, where he outlined all the lineage and whatever, which nullify a lot of what we say. Oh, we're peaceful people, you know, and religion is this and that. I mean, sometimes we make ourselves look foolish, you know. Christianity was in Africa hundreds of years ago. Now, white man had to carry nothing there and give us and take the land, you know what I mean? A lot of what we say, they're said with a purpose. And it's always they and us. But let me tell my good friend Johnny, stop this they and us. They subjugate us. They this. At what point did we wake up? You're going to tell me all these years and stop crying down our leaders. Oh, all of them are dogs. And so how do you expect to unite dogs and puppies. We seem to have an inferiority complex, you know. If you know yourself, you don't got to worry about them. You do what you have to do.
What is your take
The
on?
whole set of black people.
Yeah, what is your take
all
on
over the
the?
world,
What is your take on the? What is your take on the news from the task force in terms of the resumption of major entertainment
I heard him
events?
say that they only need the antigen to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're gonna have to. They will have to verify the source of the antigen test.
Of course, I think they will do that, and they have been
in
doing
some
that.
countries, a lot of false things turning up, and there are some of them who are very unreliable. So maybe what they should do before they do, put up on their list the kind of antigen test that you are accepting. So when people come, they don't discover that they have to go into quarantine or they have to be tested. And what they are doing is in uniform with what others are doing. You know, we're taking a chance. But what I would say with us, they're coming into our space. It is up to us to protect ourselves. They stop wearing masks, you keep on yours. Because you're here in China, they have outbreak. So what we have is a temporary relief. You follow? That's how I see it, eh? And for heaven's sake, stop thinking about, the WTO. I want you to see, I'm a statistician. Do yourself a favor. Find out, see if you can find out from WTO the ethnic breakdown of all those who died from corona. What proportion were African, include all the black people? What proportion were Indians? What proportion were Chinese? That would include the Japanese and you know? Because if it is that they went to kill us and they're basically killing off the other people, then something is wrong. You see my point? The thousands that died in China, and in America, what is the breakdown? You see, a lot of us, we mean well, Johnny means well, eh? He means well, but the only thing, you see, when you follow error, you go into more error. You go into more error.
Do you support the resumption of the major entertainment events like music festival and the Culturama?
Put it this way. I don't want to be biased. I don't know about what I'm saying. If you know you're going, because we still got to take our own responsibility. I, for one, I don't ever quite support it, but I would say, because that before we have a riot, men love pleasure more than God. I would say, if you allow them, the organizers, to me, should have some responsibility. Now, some of them say that they don't, they will no longer do temperature check. But if somebody come by the gate and they're sniffling, you should keep them out. You follow? And the people who are attending must take it upon themselves to protect themselves, because the number down there mean it's gone, You'll be deceiving yourself. You will be, people are out there being infected, but they don't want to go and test. And if they're not testing, you must get zero. You see my point? So while you have it, you have all of these games, the school games and whatever. And the teachers must protect the children. If you see you have a sports day, and a child is down to run, and the child knows running, and so don't bother, let the child run. The parents might be vexed, but you have a responsibility for the rest of the children. So they want to party, they want to fete, they want to everything. They have a responsibility, because you see with so many countries, Antigua next door, they don't have no option. They don't really have nothing, option. Antigua, Barbados, everybody saying, well, everybody could come. And the business owners and the taxi men, you hear they'll say the taxi men, the same taxi men them, and the people in the creative arts, and the DJ and the promoters, everybody, you ain't see that they ain't taking it so We want it too. Like
All right.
when Israel wanted a king, you know?
All right.
They
Well, caller,
want a
thank you
judge,
so
they
much
want a
for
king.
thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We have to end this call with you. We're gonna take some more calls here on Voices. Call us at 466-0989 and 762-0989. We're still taking your calls here today. I played a clip earlier from Dr. Wilkinson. I did say he got cut off, so we'll try to get the second part of the clip played before we break for the news. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good morning.
Your
You're on the air.
business has been pre-approved for a 10-year term loan at 5% APR for up to
Okay. Seem to have lost that call. Please call us back at 466-0989, 762-0989. You're listening to Voices on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The caller is back. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Devon,
Hello, caller.
this
Go
is
ahead.
Journey here. I was a bit apprehensive to call back again, but I don't want to shift your topic that you threw out. But with your permission, let me respond to what Mrs. Henry
No,
said.
we're not going back and forth today.
That's why I said I was apprehensive. I knew this is just what I was going to get, Devon.
We're not going back and forth today. Sorry. We're not doing that. We'll have this clip now from Dr. Wilkinson. As I said, the clip was played earlier, but it got cut off. So let me pull it up for you guys now, and then we'll continue the discussion right here on Voices on 1FM 98.9. Let's pull it up right now.
My last question to you, Dr. Wilkinson. With all the relaxation in restrictions and zero cases, it would appear that the pandemic is over. Is the fourth wave over? Is the pandemic behind us?
That's a very good question. While we are beginning to relieve ourselves of the stranglehold that COVID-19 has had on every aspect of our life, and the fourth wave appears to be behind us, the pandemic is not over. So 0 confirmed cases mentioned yesterday does not mean 0 cases in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It doesn't mean that the virus suddenly disappeared from the Federation yesterday. We are speaking to 0 confirmed laboratory cases, the cases that we know of. Also, with our open borders and with the Omicron variant and its subvariants and the Delta subvariant still in circulation globally, we can still see positive cases popping up here from time to time. What this tells us then is that while we are rejoicing that we have 0 cases, confirmed cases, we still need to remain ever vigilant and continue to use the non-pharmaceuticals like hand sanitizing and wearing a mask in public, even more so now as we begin to gather in mass, because I'm sure that you have seen that there has been a relaxation in the hosting of mass events. But more importantly, I think it's important for persons to go out and get vaccinated and get boosted.
I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. We're continuing the conversation. We have just about 15 minutes left before we wrap up the discussion. We'll break at 12 for the headline news. And when we come back, we'll shift gears to a different topic. But essentially what Dr. Wilkinson is saying was just an update on the COVID-19 situation, encouraging people to get vaccinated, get boosted, and of course some of the decisions that were made by the cabinet at their briefing on Monday. Let's send back to the phone lines. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Devon. Did he say that you'll have the task force still checking on these functions? I think in one of the countries they said that they would still check to find out the capacity. And they would inform the people as to the number or the proportion of people in the space. Did they say that? Or is it just a free-for-all?
What I can tell you, I don't think it's a free-for-all. I think it will be the same procedure that was done before, where in order for you to have an event, you have to apply for permission, and the police would tell you that for this event, you can only have X amount. And, of course, if you go past that amount, then they have every right to bring the event to a stop. Yes.
Because that's what I wanted to know, because, you know, a lot of us would interpret it, well, it's free for all now, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so. That should have been
made clear, but because I heard another country saying it, that it doesn't mean that you just go and have a lot of people jam up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so even with the sports, I mean, if you got a big, is April you all having the primary school thing?
Yes, the month in April.
What about inter your high school?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's happening though.
Because to me, but it would require more than one person because people have gone. I used to go, you know, I like to see it back in Basse High School, and the activity on the stand used to be so interesting. People going up and down, everybody shouting and carrying on, you know. But I suppose they could think that. Because they could say how many persons could go up in a stand.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you control the crowd on the ground?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that all has to do with the entrance, how many entrances
but
that
if all of us commit ourselves to do something, you know, you could have them. You don't think so? Basketball started. Football started too, right?
Yes.
What is it? You have any idea what is the turnout at these games?
I can't give you an answer, to be honest with you. I'm not really been following, so I'm not sure. But I would assume,
I was wondering,
I would assume that people who are very much interested in these activities have been supporting them.
That's a good idea, you know. Because, as I said, the responsibility is now ours, you know. We should have learned, unless we want the next lockdown. People in China, the government had to announce that they didn't plan anything because people rushing to stock up. And in some countries, they're looking at it again. Countries that had declared themselves clean and so. Some of them who open up start shutting back down. So we must not understand that with the announcement that they're going to reduce the criteria, there's also the possibility that they can be reimposed. And that, again, I say, depends on us. All right, then.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. It's 10 minutes to the hour, and we're still taking your calls. So I don't think it's going to be a free-for-all in terms of these entertainment events. I think it would be the same procedure where you would have to apply for permission to say, well, you know, this is the event that I want to have. And the police or the task force would tell you that, well, you are allowed to have X amount of people. And if you go past that number, then you just bear the consequences of whether they're going to ticket your event or if they are going to bring it to a stop. So I hope this is not the intention that event organizers or people who are having the events I hope this is not their intention, that, you know, it's a free-for-all. I don't think it's a free-for-all. While as it is right now, the cases are very much, I would say, under control. Where we're not hearing, in the previously 20, 40, 50 cases per day. Things are very much under control. And usually when the place is quiet, when I say quiet in terms of the COVID cases, everybody is just relaxed and not necessarily worrying about all the cases. And then when we have the high cases, then you kind of get this feeling from the general public that they are in panic mode, and there is reason to panic and worry. But I think slowly but surely, we are going to get back to where we once were, and this all has to do with what we do. We can always sit and say, well, the health officials have to do this or they have to do that. But we have to remember that we have our part to play too. Let us not be ignorant. Let us not, let us not be ignorant and say, I don't really care about what's happening. Do your part, and I think eventually we're going to get back there. We have a caller on the line, so we're going to head back to the phone lines and we're going to take some calls. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Cornelius. We can't drop our guard.
I agree with you.
And I see people walking away with the mask on their face. They didn't want to sanitize their hand when the people tell them to sanitize their hand. They refusing to sanitize. You see what's going on with China? China lockdown again, China lockdown again. Boy.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. The caller was basically saying we can't drop our guard. Have to be mindful of the developments around us. While some may say, well, that's all the way in China, or this is another country. Well, that is where it actually began, and look where we are today. So, in the midst of us, partying, having these social events, it is not to say that we can't have them, but you have, I keep saying, it's an individual responsibility, and you know what you're supposed to do. So don't drop your guard and don't, become ignorant. You know exactly what you have to do. We're soon out of time, but we're going to take one more call before we wrap up the first hour of Voices here on WinFM 98.9. We'll take a break for the headline news, and when we come back, we will continue the conversation here today. The phone lines are open. Call us at 466-0989 and 7620989. Also, you can send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. That is 662-2204. We are going to, yes, somebody just asked for the WhatsApp number. That is 662-2204. So that's it in a nutshell, based on the COVID-19 situation. And just to give you guys more information with regards to the cabinet briefing, the cabinet briefing that took place on Monday. So cabinet met on Monday, and they were able to deliberate on a number of issues, and some of those issues were COVID-19 related. It says a team from the National COVID-19 Task Force, including the director, the chief medical officer, and the medical chief of staff, gave an overview of the situation regarding the management of the COVID-19 pandemic in the Federation, and the medical chief of staff attributed the success achieved to following the science and making decisions from a health perspective without any political interference. He expressed gratitude to the Prime Minister and the Cabinet for their support. Now, he reported that the COVID-19 ward at the JNF General Hospital has now been closed for more than 4 weeks, and there are presently no hospitalizations, and the country suffered a total of 42 deaths. The CMO gave the statistics and made certain recommendations to the cabinet which will affect lives and livelihoods. In this regard, it was recommended that the shift system in schools be discontinued and return to normal. The director of the National Emergency Operations Center and chair of the task force sought cabinet's approval for certain mass events, especially for Culturama, to be allowed. He reported on the readiness of shelters for the hurricane season, the upcoming hurricane season. Cabinet also received a report from the committee, which was mandated to formalize the step workers, step employees transition into the public service. So these are some of the matters that were discussed at Monday's press briefing. Guys, we're out of time, so we'll take this break now for the headline news, and when we come back, we will continue our conversation right here on 1FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. Now, the government recently turned on the additional traffic lights, and there has been a lot of strong public opinion on the traffic lights being turned on. I want to hear from you, if you're a bus driver, if you are a pedestrian, if you are just a private citizen minding your business. But I want to hear from you, your take on this. If, essentially, how does the traffic lights help the present situation, as it relates to traffic in Bastia? How does the traffic lights help the situation? I want to hear from you, especially those bus drivers, those drivers who have been able to use the traffic lights since them being turned on. I think it was yesterday afternoon they actually had a short ceremony to turn on these lights. We're going to speak a little bit about that in the second hour, but we'll take this break now to give a shout out to our sponsors right here on 1FM 98.9. I've been your host for the first hour, Devon Cornelius. Stick and stay. We're coming back for the second hour. And for those of you who are just tuning in, it was just to speak on COVID-19 and some of the events, such as Culturama, that were approved or sought approval for at the cabinet press briefing on other COVID-19 related matters. An update on the Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary School where there was a fire. We'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll continue Voices right here on 1FM 98.9. Stick and stay.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Stores Curbside Pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Stores Curbside Pickup Service.
found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news.
The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tilly Wall with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Did you know that National Bank offers very favorable terms and low interest rate to switch your home mortgage? Our in-house legal department will process your mortgage in a jiffy and free of cost. Switch your home mortgage now and get a peace of mind knowing that we are here for you. National Bank, always here.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the Win Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines.
Prime Minister Harris' response to Dr. Drew says cabinet has been very productive.
Devon Paris injured in a shooting incident. Police are investigating. Grenada's Prime Minister Keith Mitchell announced that the government will cap fuel prices at EC $15 a gallon to help Grenadians combat the global rise in fuel prices. Internationally, 16 million people have been put under lockdown in China as it faces its worst coronavirus outbreak since the pandemic began. Beijing says it's maintaining its zero-tolerance policy. Now, the details.
Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Timothy Harris has dismissed claims by leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Terence Drew, that the cabinet of the Team Unity administration may not be meeting regularly. In an invited comment on Tuesday, Prime Minister Harris told WinFM via text that, quote, Cabinet has been very productive and met on Monday this week and deliberated on significant matters from about 10 a.m. until minutes to 6. Quote, Dr. Drew needs to contain his penchant for spreading false information. He is very badly advised, end quote, he added. The St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service reported that Cabinet met on Monday and deliberated on the fire at the Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary School, the management of COVID-19 in the country, and the hosting of major entertainment events, among other things.
In an update on the shooting incident that led to Devon Paris of Stony Grove, Nevis being injured, according to a release from the police, Paris was driving his SUV when unknown assailants began shooting at him near Prospect Gap. Paris received an abrasion and a gunshot wound to the side of his chest. He was transported to the Alexandra Hospital, where he is warded and in stable condition. His 7-month-old baby, who was also in the vehicle at the time of the incident, was unharmed. The incident occurred on Monday, March 21st. Anyone with information about this incident is asked to contact the Charlestown Police Station by dialing 469-5391, their nearest police station, or the crime hotline at 707. In regional news, Grenada's Prime Minister Keith Mitchell announced that the government will cap fuel prices at EC $15 a gallon to help Grenadians combat the global rise in fuel prices. Primetime Caribbean has that report.
The government of Grenada has announced that it will cap the price of gas at $15 per gallon. In an address to the nation on Thursday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said further announcements will be made with respect to the price of fuel as the Minister of Finance reviews the country's fiscal situation. However, the Prime Minister said the government of Grenada remains committed to the current price of gas to consumers for now.
We made a commitment to cap the price of gas to local consumers at $15 a gallon, and that remains in place for now. It means, however, that government will have to sacrifice more in providing the subsidy, thereby limiting our ability to spend elsewhere. The Ministry of Finance is currently undertaking an extensive review of the country's fiscal situation. In the coming weeks, as the true impact of the situation becomes much clearer, we will make further announcements with respect to fuel prices.
However, Mitchell warned that the cost of fuel impacts all aspects of global economic life and will put pressure on every area.
The cost of importing manufactured products and other raw materials will rise further. Global investments and tourism will be undermined, adding another blow to our attempts to come out of the period of stunted growth, which according to the International Monetary Fund was recorded at 5.6% in 2021.
Now, as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues, there are Grenadian students who are still in Russia. In an address to the nation on Thursday, Prime Minister Keith Mitchell says he has been advised by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that no Grenadians are in harm's way at this time, and for that they are grateful.
There are few students in Russia who have reported that they are safe, and there is no need to be evacuated at this time. Should the need arise, this government stands ready to offer any assistance that they may need.
The Prime Minister reminded that Grenada joined the list of countries condemning the war in Ukraine. Mitchell made an appeal to Grenadians to pray for the people of Ukraine and for the people of Russia and neighboring states who are directly affected by the horrors of war.
Innocent women and children, mothers in maternity wards, children in classes, and ordinary people just trying to find the way. Unfortunately, the collateral damage of this unnecessary war.
We now bring you these international reports.
Chinese authorities are racing to contain a fast-spreading Omicron outbreak, but they're struggling to move fast enough. This week, millions of residents living in the cities of Tangshan and Shenyang in the north were put under varying levels of lockdown. Nationwide, thousands of new infections continue to be reported daily, and officials are still responding with rigid mass testing, contact tracing and quarantine, an approach they call Dynamic Zero COVID.
We have the necessary groundwork, the right circumstances and the capability to implement a dynamic zero infection approach. These past years of epidemic prevention have proven it's effective and in line with China's reality.
The first deaths from the virus since 2020 were recorded on Saturday. Dozens of officials have been sacked for failing to control local outbreaks. In the southern city of Shenzhen, videos of rare protests against extended lockdowns are posted on social media. Most of those living in the tech hub resumed normal life on Monday, but some neighborhoods remain closed off. While frustrated voices may not be enough to change the government's approach to the pandemic, the health of the economy is proving more of a concern. Chinese President Xi Jinping has stressed the need to minimize the impact on productivity.
What we are seeing is a slightly more nuanced approach. How do you work around COVID zero? How do you make it more targeted? I would call it COVID zero 2.0 perhaps, to really figure out, okay, because you cannot shut commerce down. So what are the mechanisms you need to come up with?
Shanghai, the country's main financial hub, has avoided mass lockdown despite rising infections, though Disneyland and other entertainment venues have been closed until further notice. Doctors in the northeastern province of Jilin have begun treating COVID patients with Pfizer drug Paxlovid, though foreign-made vaccines are still banned. Authorities say most of China's population is vaccinated with homegrown jabs, but lower rates among the elderly remain a concern. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
But you'll know, of course, that Poland has welcomed more than 2 million refugees over the last 4 weeks. The government saying an increase in defence spending will happen as well. Their Prime Minister has travelled to Kyiv to show support for Ukraine. He's also taken steps to reduce Russia's influence in Poland's economy. Dan Johnson has been talking to people there to assess how Poles are feeling about what is happening in Ukraine.
A new generation is joining the ranks. Volunteers for Poland's Territorial Defence Force, hundreds of them, signing up in response to Russian aggression just across the border.
If something happens in Poland, I don't want to feel helpless.
Every man and woman should fight for their country because it's our home.
Applications are up sevenfold across the country.
There's a surge of patriotism. It's a new feeling for some people, and the situation on the border is fueling their decision to join up.
So I've got the car full of petrol.
Michael's instinct is flight, not fight.
Packs of water, a rucksack ready to go, and
ready to go west if he feels his family's at risk.
Putin's clearly out for something, and it makes you worry what's gonna happen next. I was here in Poland when he invaded Georgia. I was here in Poland when he invaded Crimea. So I've seen it escalate, and it doesn't look like it's necessarily going to stop with Ukraine.
Krakow's main square, ancient, beautiful and busy, with only hints of these uncertain times.
I'm rather terrified by the situation. I'm afraid that the war could spill over to other countries, like Poland, and I'm getting prepared.
I don't know what I should think about it because this is many information, fake news, and I'm a bit confused.
Do you feel safe here?
Yeah, I really feel safe here because, Poland is in NATO, so I think we are protected. You just can see everywhere American soldiers, so that's cool.
People thought this sort of thing was way behind them, but bitter national experience means this country's unease is deep-rooted. And despite the reassurance of being a NATO country, a European Union member, the anxiety here is genuine and it is rising.
In the lines of new recruits, we found Honorata, a pacifist. You never know how you'll react, she says, when the circumstances change. Russia's resurgent aggression and its reality in Ukraine is already prompting Poles into action and putting this country on higher alert. Dan Johnson, BBC News, Krakow.
Torn down homes and piles of debris stretched across north and central Texas on Tuesday as powerful tornadoes tore through the region. Several people across the state have been reported injured, according to the National Weather Service. They added that a dangerous weather warning remains in place for around 5 million people in surrounding states. In the city of Round Rock, about 20 miles away from Austin, a tornado hit Terry Grondin's home of more than 30 years.
We tried to get through. Streets were blocked. I didn't care. I ran over here and I saw my house and I was devastated, outright devastated. And I didn't know what to do. I still don't know what to do, to tell you the truth. I'm just trying to see how we get things done so we can get back to normal life, whatever we can do.
At least one person has been reported dead after a large tornado wreaked havoc in New Orleans on Tuesday, and the rest of the region is expected to see heavy rains and wind gusts of up to 45 miles per hour. According to PowerOutages.com, some 55,000 people in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi remain without power as of Tuesday afternoon.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
Prime Minister Harris' response to Dr. Drew says cabinet has been very productive.
Devon Paris injured in a shooting incident. Police are investigating. Grenada's Prime Minister Keith Mitchell announced that the government will cap fuel prices at EC $15 a gallon to help Grenadians combat the global rise in fuel prices. Internationally, 16 million people have been put under lockdown in China as it faces its worst coronavirus outbreak since the pandemic began. Beijing says it's maintaining its zero-tolerance policy. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your National Bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organisation on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tilly Wall with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Horswood's Building and Nevis Centres continues to make your lawn and gardening easy. Go to Horswood's Building and Nevis Centre now and get 25% off store-wide on the entire lawn and garden equipment. Yes, for the months of February and March, Horswood's Building Centre and Nevis Centre is making improving your lawn and garden easy with 25% off garden supplies, garden equipment, garden accessories, including weed eaters, lawnmowers, and much more. Get 25% off all lawn and garden items happening now at Horswood's Building Centre in St. Kitts and Nevis. Horswood's Building and Nevis Centres, making home improvement easy. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. It is 12:24 here in the studios, and I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of Voices, and we are going to continue today's program. Now, the government recently installed, or turned on, that is, the traffic lights. I think it was yesterday afternoon, sometime around 5, when the other traffic lights were commissioned after being up for some time, and of course, people asking questions as to whether they are going to be commissioned. So 6 new traffic lights were commissioned, and of course the flow of traffic in Bastia would be affected because people are going to have to get accustomed to this change. There's still some people who would not prefer to have these traffic lights, and of course there are others who welcome these traffic lights. But I want to hear from you, the good listeners of 1FM 98.9, your take on the installation or the commissioning, that is, of these traffic lights. Do you think that they have affected the flow of traffic in Bastia positively or negatively? Perhaps it may be too early to give such a response, but nevertheless, I want to hear from you. So 6 new traffic lights were commissioned on Tuesday, sometime around 5, and the changes to the flow in traffic within the central Bastia area are expected to follow. I'll list those changes in a short while, but we'll head to the phone lines and take this first call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air. Caller, good afternoon. You are on Voices.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Good afternoon.
How was your lunch?
It was good. What about you?
I just had some peanuts, Okay. I ate late.
Okay.
So, you got to get your nuts and your fruits and your stuff. Good afternoon to all the listeners at home and abroad. Well, I used to drive, for those who don't know. I owned a car, and I can tell you I live in Newtown. And, the junction by Convent School coming on to Kayan Street.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Man, sometimes, if you made a mistake and came up by the square, by the courthouse, you can't get out. And, there are people who will see you there, and you have traffic coming from Wellington Road. Even down the bay. You come down Sandown Road, trying to get onto whether you're going Birdwalk or you're going into Bastia. Those who come in from Birdwalk or Bastia, they won't let you out. Not to mention by the gut. I was talking about some of the spots, You come out College Street, got the people on Kayan Street. Well, of course, they said they have the right of way. Now, we say St. Kitts is a modern country. Modern country. Antigua has traffic lights, God knows when, way back. Do you know that?
Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard somebody this morning talking about, I don't think we need a traffic lights. I mean, you're either going forward or you're going backward. St. Kitts is a modern country. You can't be half modern. And I asked my son the other day, when I was in the vehicle, has it eased? He said in some places yes, in some places no. And often it has to do with the people who are in the stop. I called in about the pedestrian crossing for people who are disabled. Now, the man promised to hold a meeting because sometimes the timing is too short for some of the elderly and so. But we have to get into our heads that Bastia is a modern city. Some of the buildings are made really modern. So the things are needed. Why should we always have somebody standing up there endangering their lives? They're endangering the lives of the crossing guards often. And our people have to learn to use them. And the funny thing, some people who you hear talking, when they go abroad, they drive, You know that?
Yeah.
When I'm drive overseas,
Mm-hmm.
you go in Jamaica on one long road, there's a lot of stops. You're going from Papine by the university down to Harpertree by the bus stop. They got more than one on the same road, you know, on the same straight road. We have a junction, there's a light. So light. We have got to begin to think like people in a modern world. And often the comments are only done for political reason. That's it. Now, if you say, well, this one in particular, but don't guys say, I don't think we need traffic lights. Anguilla does have traffic lights too, right?
I'm not sure. I've never been there.
So I heard, and Anguilla smaller than Nevis. You want to talk about St. Martin? Now I'm St. Thomas. You St. Thomas coming along the Bay Road, there are more than one traffic light. So why should we be behind? Our people live in these small countries. St. Thomas is as big as Nevis, 36 square miles. Traffic lights.
All right.
So what is wrong with us?
All right. Well, caller, thank you so much for your contribution.
All right, then.
We want to take some more calls here on Voices on 1FM 98.9. Call us at 466-0989 and 7620989. This is Voices today, and I'm your host, Devon Cornelius. So, some significant changes include restricting turns coming out of Port Zante West and Port Zante East. Now, at Port Zante West and Port Zante East, the idea behind the traffic lights was to push the traffic away from the center of Bastia. At Port Zante West, when you exit Port Zante, you were to go towards the Cenotaph, so that's a left turn. At Port Zante East, the idea is that when you exit Port Zante, then you make your way towards the Bird Rock intersection. So that will be right. You will only be allowed to go right, that is, make your way up the Bay Road and find a way from there. Those are the restrictions in that area, said Livingston Pemberton, engineer within Public Works Department. With the commission of the lights, there will be some restrictions throughout Bastia, and of course that would change the entire flow. Now, some may ask, why the restrictions? There might be a few restrictions in terms of the no right turns, and the reason being is the impact of not having a turning lane to turn right, and hampers the whole efficiency of the junction. So most of our junctions that we're commissioning, they do not have a right turn lane. One that does is the Bay Road or the College Street. So you have to impose restrictions on those to allow a more free and efficient traffic signal cooperation, explained the Jamaican traffic lights specialist and engineer Barrington Cross from Synergy Engineering. It says one turn in particular, that is the right turn into Church Street from Keon Street. That turn would not be allowed. So if you're coming from the cemetery area and you're coming across Keon Street, you will recognize that if you turn into Church Street, you will be turning across traffic. That will create a conflict. And we're trying to minimize or eliminate those conflicts. So please note, as I said earlier, it is very important that you plan your routes so that you know where you are leaving from, where you want to end up, and so you're encouraged to plan your route, know where you can turn and where you cannot turn. Those are some of the changes. Now it says here that the Monkey Hill bus stop moves from College Street Gut and Keon Street Junction to Upper College Street Gut. So for those of you who live in that St. Peter's, Monkey Hill, that area, just take note that the bus stop is now Upper College Street Gut instead of the lower to which you were accustomed to. And of course, the motorists, pedestrians, please be aware of these changes. Now, of course, I want to hear from you your take on these changes. And as a bus driver, pedestrian, and motorist, share with us your experience of how it has been since the commissioning of these lights. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, Mr. Cornelius. You know, some people come to the conclusion that having traffic lights suggests development, you know, but if I tell you the truth, I personally feel like a good sizable roundabout does a better job than traffic lights, you know. But sometime in the very lane that has the traffic is that one alone is held up, you know. So personally, if you were to observe a roundabout, it does a better job than traffic lights. I know recently I would have read or heard about traffic lights that could detect the lanes that have in the traffic. So even though it should have been going green for a certain area, it would go to the one, well, let me see, no. Even if you would have had to get red to stop the traffic in certain areas, the one that has the traffic, it gives it the one, it make the adjustment to get the traffic going to clear the lane that has the traffic. But a lot of times, the traffic light is holding up the lane that has the traffic. I don't know how you think about it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls here on WinFM 98.9. Today's Voices. It's Wednesday, March 23, 2022. And we are taking your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. I was having a conversation earlier with someone off here, and they were saying that the response to traffic, the issues that we have with traffic, perhaps would have been better addressed by having roundabouts. But where are you going to put a roundabout in Bastia? That's just my observation. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, just a correction to something you said. In relation to the St. Peter's bus stop, they're in the same location, but they have to move further up the gut.
Yes, upper College Street gut.
Yeah, so they were not in Lower College Street. They have always been in upper. You follow? But they were near the junction.
Right.
So they move up in the same upper.
Mm-hmm.
So that they don't have to come down to catch the bus. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about Lower College Street.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's my music. They were closer to the junction, for real, the intersection there, yes.
Yeah. They were never in Lower College Street.
Yeah.
All right, then, just a correction.
All right, thank you, caller, so much for that. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on WinFM 98.9. Call us at 466-0989 and 762-0989. We're taking your questions and your contribution via 662-2204. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Just a little thing based on what the male caller said a while ago about roundabout. Yes, roundabout would have been ideal, but the problem is we don't have the space. Because the town would have already been planned and set out, we don't have the space to really put the roundabout in those areas where the traffic lights are. And they pose the problem. Hence, the traffic light has to go down. We will give it some time before we can say whether it's good or bad. You know? Let us work with it and see first if it's workable.
All right.
We already spend money to put them in place, so
right.
Just give it some time.
Yes. All right, caller, thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was my take on it. Perhaps it's a bit too early to say that whether they are an advantage or disadvantage, you know. But based on what you have seen, no. What can you say? I think for those that were commissioned earlier, I think for the most part, people have gotten accustomed to them. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. Good afternoon, you're on the air.
Mr. Cornelius, actually, I had that in mind to tell you that, but really, in Basti and so on would have been fixed already. But, well, maybe that should apply to places where you're going to have more development, you know. I really had that in mind. I really had it in mind to say, but because maybe I was a little too brief trying to get away just to give time for discussion. Okay, good.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution. Please, guys, when you call, please turn the radio off, not down. Turn it off because there's a terrible feedback, which is messing with the frequency. So please, when you call, remember to turn your radio completely off instead of just turning down the volume. Turn it off. But we're still taking your calls here on Voices on Win FM 98.9. We want to get your take on the installation or the commissioning, that is, of the traffic lights. No. Just some more information. So it says in the College Street area, the buses for the St. Peter's area, they will be relocated further up College Street Gut. So before they were closer to the intersection, but they are now up Upper College Street Gut. So we are asking the general public, especially those who are commuting between St. Peter's and Bastia, to please bear in mind that their buses will go just a little further up College Street Gut. So you can still take the bus from there, but you will not be as close to the junction. Additionally, the flow of traffic will be further impacted with the installation of yellow lines throughout Bastia area, and that will restrict parking options and help with the traffic flow in the city, according to Pemberton. Now, this, I would say, based on what I've been hearing, has not sit well with a lot of people. People have been complaining that they can't find a space to park. At the same time, though, people believe that they can park any and everywhere. And that is a problem because some people have they have poor judgment when they're parking, and so sometimes they park their vehicle and they come back and they meet the vehicle destroyed and they're ready to rant and rage, not realizing that perhaps the reason why the vehicle was touched off, that is because of how they had the vehicle parked. So we know that, the issue of parking in Bastia is a major one, and people have been complaining for a very long time, that that this is a growing concern in the city of Bastia, where they can't find parking. But again, it can't be a free for all where you are allowed to park where you want, where you feel, because if that is the case, then we're going to have chaos. We're definitely going to have chaos. But for some people, they are of the view that they can park anywhere, and that should not be allowed. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's me again. Let's get to the parking. There are two parking lots on Port Zante. $5 for a whole day.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, after I retired, driving my car to town, sometimes I can't get no parking space, and when I do, it's over in Market Street. I go down to and pay me $5. And some people are working in town all day. $5 all day. You're coming in the morning, you park your vehicle, and you do walking until you're ready to go home. So it is not, they're not available, but our people are unwilling to pay.
Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with somebody about the options there at Port Zante, and their concern was the condition of the parking space and having adequate security, because some people have complained that they park their vehicle there, and when they come back, they admit it touched off and not in the condition that they left it. So even though they're paying $5 to have their vehicle parked in that designated area, they're saying that the parking space is not in a good condition, and their
Which is
concern
cheaper,
is security.
$150. Now, the one they said about parking up in Newtown?
Parking in Newtown, not.
Yeah, one of the alternatives they said. I don't mean in Newtown, just going outside of the playing field somewhere out there, they said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can tell them in Barbados, you're going to Bridgetown. Some places where you got to park, you have a good long walk, They're not near. So when you pay, and you have to park in a parking lot. You have to park in a parking lot. Our people have got to get accustomed to it. The one with the Greenlands park. Well, I personally believe, even though it might be free, or they might be forced to charge something, I think. There should be really some sort of security, eh? So when you leave your vehicle, you expect to come back and meet it, not broken into. I'm not saying that people in Harrison steal more than anybody else, but some of the areas that they gave, And we got to stop beating on the bush, We have the Basti High School up there. Let the opposition say what they want to say and start to make it a parking lot. If you take on everything, people say you'll never get anything done. Who want to go up, they go up there. Who don't want to go, don't go. But make it a parking lot. Take down the old buildings and make it a parking lot. You don't want to dig it up, as they say. Then pave it over. We're wasting time, We are definitely wasting time. Pave, cast over the ground, and make it a parking lot where people have to pay to go in, and then you'll have an entrance and an exit.
All right.
All right, then.
All right. Thank you, Carla, so much for your contribution. We'll take this break to give a shout-out to our sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue Voices here on 1FM 98.9. We'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Bust a move. Door busting savings happening now. Horsford's Automotive is busting loose. Huge door busting discounts on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. Bust loose with as much as $25,000 off on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seaters. Yes, up to $25,000 off on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. But that's not all. Down payment busted. Absolutely no down payment. Payment on bill of sale. Busted. No payment on bill of sale. Payment on servicing for 12 months. Busted. Free servicing for 1 year. Buy groceries on gas for up to 3 months. Your choice. Busted. Your choice of absolutely free groceries or gas for 3 months. Payment on registration and licensing, tinting and accessories. All busted. That means they're totally free. Horsford Automotive is busting loose with its Bus a Move sales event on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. Bus a Move and get your new 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater today for as much as $25,000 off. Bus a Move now at Horsford Automotive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices here on 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open, and we are taking your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius again. Now, if I had my way when it comes to the Bastia High School, I would have demolished those buildings there. I would have scraped the topsoil. I would have replaced some topsoil, and I would have rebuilt the new Bastia High School right at that site. And here's my reason. One, it will be more accessible for the students and teachers, opposed to having to tread long distance, especially when we have wet weather, very hot climate conditions, easier for the children, and there will be more in the town proper, opposed to the outskirts and have to be shuttled as I said, convenient. It will be more convenient for the students and teachers to go back right there. So I wouldn't put a parking lot there. I will find somewhere else, probably in the town proper, because we have a lot of empty lots in the town proper that they can push off and put public parking, whether for reward or whatever. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your calls here on Voices on 1FM 98.9. It's a few minutes to the hour of 1. Of course, we wrap up at 1:30, but we want to hear from you, the good listeners of 1FM 98.9, your take on this. Now, this has perhaps run into the subtopic of the parking issue in Bastia, which has been a growing issue for many, many years. And, of course, as we develop, as we evolve, it's going to get worse, as people bring more vehicles into the country. But I guess the question is now, what can we do to, fix this issue of parking, and what alternative do we have to provide parking for people who work in Bastia or people who are coming to Bastia to do their business on a regular basis? But the issue of parking, for the most part, has been a growing concern over the years. We want to hear from you here on 1FM 98.9. We're going to take your calls at 466-0989 and 762-0989. A question came in on the WhatsApp number to ask if there is any consideration for a multi-level parking. That is a good observation or a good suggestion, I would say. So instead of just having one parking space, you can have the multi-level parking space where we see in other countries. I think it is Grenada. I stand to be corrected, but I think Grenada has one, which is for the bus. It's like a bus terminal. But that's a good suggestion. In consideration for or of a multi-level parking space. What are your thoughts on this? We want to hear your comments at 466-0989-762-0989. I know for the most part we have been talking about having that option. I think they have been talking about it on Nevis as well, as to whether we're going to have a multi-level parking space, because on Nevis that issue of parking is one as well, where people, you just can't find parking. You come into town and it's really hard for you to find parking. And of course, as we continue to evolve, as we continue to, develop, it is going to remain an issue. It is definitely going to remain an issue. So with the traffic lights, they have been installed, and people welcome the traffic lights. Some are not so much so in support of them. Those that we had earlier that were commissioned some time ago, I would say for the most part, people have already gotten accustomed to them. Now, there's an observation that I have observed in terms of using the road where some people run the traffic lights. And they have no regard for the pedestrians. They have no regard for people who, would use the road. They just run them. And I've seen drivers, they're coming down on the Bay Road. So you're coming from Port Zante, and you're going into Bastia, and the light is on the verge of going red. And just because they don't want to stop, they want to beat the light, they press gas. Now, if you are approaching a pedestrian crossing, much as a stoplight, the correct thing to do is to begin to apply brakes to slow down. Because, at that point, this is where pedestrians would cross. But I've seen for myself where people are speeding up, and serious speed too. That is a concern which needs to be looked into. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cardenas. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. And you?
I'm not too bad. Just an observation. And this is not just a just now observation under this administration. And it appears to me that our politicians, they lack vision, and serious vision. And here's why I said this. Yesterday was a perfect example, or the traffic lights is a perfect example of this. There are businesses around Bastia area, small and big. And I would assume that the engineers and the government was supposed to be, most of the government was supposed to be working on behalf of the people, should have taken into consideration how these traffic lights would affect commerce, would affect foot traffic, would affect small businesses in particular. Consideration was delayed with the traffic lights because of big business. And nobody could deny that fact. But small business in terms of specifically the bus drivers in Monkey Hill. Now, the PRO for the Monkey Hill Bus Association was on Freedom FM just a minute ago on the news, talking about the disrespect that they feel given what happened yesterday. And then the Minister of Transport shows up this morning to have a conversation with the busmen, and photos were taken. Now come tell me, the people who use the buses in the St. Peter's area, New Road, Shadwell, St. Peter's, aren't they people? Don't they deserve the attention of the people who administrate in this country? So now that the yellow line's gone now, the bus drivers wondering, okay then, what are we to do? You push us further up the gut, which is inadequate. And the police is saying, well, we don't know what to do. We get instructions, so we just follow instructions. I mean, where is the planning? Where is the vision? And these people were elected to lead this country, You mean to tell me that nobody thought about how parking would play out once you put down all these yellow lines in town? No, you could say you could leave it up to the business community to come up with ideas to do it. But sometimes we all know most of these lands around Bastille, you can't find the owner, i.e. caught up in some kind of family squabble.
Right.
And if you try to get a piece of land somewhere out, you got to go through all kind of hem and ha. Unless you is somebody, then you go to the bank, you might tell the bank, okay, I have an idea for a new business in terms of parking, the same parking that we're talking about. All of us to travel, and all of us to see what are going on in the country, around the world. Why is it we have to be on radio talking about these things as opposed to just making provisions for them to be done?
Mm-hmm.
So what about the people? One lady said she had to park her vehicle up in Newtown and walk down the Berry Road to go walk, and she's dealing with customer service. So when she done sweat up herself from up there to get in town to work just because of the yellow line, but somebody gonna turn around and say that you got people smell funny in the business dealing with people? No, a lot of little businesses could spring up out of this yellow line thing, but it's supposed to be something that is supposed to be planned, progressively planned, so that you don't have these major disruptions and the disgruntlement from the different businesses around town and the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be a smooth transition. Nobody is saying that they don't want the change and that the lights aren't good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is saying that. I mean, the country must develop and must progress because more and more vehicles are coming in. But you as the leader supposed to set the tone. You're supposed to have the vision. Mm-hmm. There were talks about moving the St. Peter's bus stop from Indigot to up in the old Bastille High School. And that was like months ago. So why nothing was put in place to deal with that? They said that as soon as you want to put on the yellow lights, to commission the yellow lines, to commission the traffic lights, the bus route could have done, the bus stop could have done been allocated, set up, ready to go. What about the people?
What is your take on? I had a conversation earlier with somebody about the whole traffic lights, and they were of the view that, you know, with the commissioning or the implementation of these traffic lights, it should have included the people that it will affect, such as the bus drivers, pedestrians. What is your take on that?
But this is what I started out saying. The government should have been the one to say, look, we want to put the traffic lights in. You have the engineers do their thing in terms of the technical side of it. But you should have been the one looking out for the interests of the people. How is this going to affect the most vulnerable? How is this going to affect Granny when she wants to come in town to go do she little thing and she grandson can't drop her off here, there, and everywhere? You should have done that assessment. This is what data collection is for. You know the demographic of the people that you're dealing with in certain areas. The statistics unit, whatever they call it, I don't know if it works still. But you should have done an assessment of all the businesses, all the people who this will affect, the most vulnerable, mind you, and come up with quick solutions to aid these people. That's what the government's supposed to be doing. Not wrangling about who's going to be the next prime minister in the next 4 years. You have a problem in front of you now. And now you have all this hullabaloo because the lights them come on. Yeah, praise the lights them, hallelujah, they come. But with every change, you're going to have a fallout. And you're supposed to make sure that you have things in place to cushion that. So that the most vulnerable, the most heavily affected by the change could have an ease into it so that you don't have this lot of cataflam back and forth. The bus drivers disgruntled. Yesterday, a lady sitting in the bus stop, yesterday afternoon, yellow line paid up, and she there sit down, you know. And the bus could come down there, come pick her up, and nobody inform her. So people in the gut by the old bus stop waiting for buses, and buses can't come down because what? Nothing but yellow line. And police officers already posted in these occasions so that if anybody decides to break the traffic rules, you get a ticket one time in this dry crop weather. Where is the vision again? Where is it? And when you talk, oh, you know, like the government. Mm-hmm. Oh, they try to bring in the government. Mm-hmm. Oh, but the traffic light's nice. Nobody said they're nice. But how will it affect people negatively? And what are the solutions to those problems? These are things that should have been worked out months ago and implemented. That's what we vote for our government for. Thank you, Mr. Cornelius.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking your call here on Voices on 1FM 98.9. We'll take a short break to give a shout out to our sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue the program. It is 6 minutes past the hour. Let's take this short break and we will be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Hey everybody, it's your boy SA. Here's your Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tank Special running March 10th to the 23rd. Prego pasta sauce $11.99. Captain Crunch cereals $9.99. Actu popcorn $5.99. La yogurt $2.99. Essential or everyday bleach $8.99. IGA or essential everyday waffles $7.99. And now our very low weekly value deals. Essential or everyday fries $10.99. Essential or everyday pasta $3.99. No other side dishes $6.99. Almond Breeze almond milk $8.99. General Mills family size cereals $17.99. Boost drinks $7.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart.
Welcome back to Voices here on 1FM 98.9. We're heading back to the phone lines and we're going to take some more calls to continue the conversation today. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm great, thanks. And you?
I'm giving thanks for life. I have a pickup at the beach. I'm a taxi driver, so just gauging the time. I think I have a minute or two to, play with. So, this is unrelated to the traffic lights, but it's related to transportation. Now, we as taxi drivers, we do have conversations. Me not giving all of the facts of the matter, but I kind of caught the gist of something that has transpired during the pandemic. And we as taxi drivers, we face almost like, having 2 years and more out of the job. Some guys, in order to be a little flexible, decided, well, there's no movement with the taxis, hardly any movement. I mean, it's a lucrative business. They decided to cross over, probably 4 or 5 of them, and they went into the H buses, to keep their mortgages and their families afloat. And now that the industry is rebounding and coming back, they're showing interest in coming back into the taxi, mind you, providing they still have their, the decal, which is not expired, and, they would want to update it. And the license, the business license, and everything is in place. I am told that they are getting a hard time to transfer back as to where they used to do. Now, if you know the higher buses, it's tough on the road with so many vehicles. It's also tough with the taxi. But the taxi business is a little bit more lucrative, even though it's a seasonal thing. And that is the way the guys them used to really make money, make and meet with their mortgages and their families. I was told that they are told they need another vehicle. But how would they get another vehicle when they are scrunting to pay for that vehicle, the one that they have in the first place? I am asking that common sense prevail, and I love the guys. Now, Mr. Cornelius, I would understand if one who in the higher buses and want to freshly go over into the taxi. These guys were there into the taxi and they have the wherewithal, they have certain things, providing that the decal is not expired. Allow the 5 guys to come back over if there is show commitment, if they want to come back over. And allow common sense to prevail, because in the first place, we see certain companies, certain guys lost their buses for whatever reason, and we don't want to see that happen to any other taxi driver. Probably there's a handful of those guys that cross over to make ends meet. I am asking just the relevant authorities who allow the guys to cross back over if they so wish to do, and allow them to continue to feed their family, pay their mortgages.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
All right, thank you, caller. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. We seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989 and 762-0989. It is 12 minutes past the hour of 1 here in the studios of 1FM 98.9. We are going to wrap up this program at 1:30, but we want to hear from you, so we're heading back to the phone lines and we're taking these calls. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hello.
Hi, caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, I want to address the St. Peter's issue. Now, every Monday morning at 8:30, there's traffic talk on Win FM. They have them on other stations, but we're talking about Win FM. Over 2 weeks ago now, the gentleman, Mr. Cross, was on Win FM talking about the relocation and what will happen. The onus to me is on the bus drivers. Now, don't tell me that you're pulling people from St. Peter's and you don't explain to them that the buses can't go down there anymore. You understand? And if you see somebody down there, send somebody down there to tell them, it has been moved. Now, the Bus Association of St. Peter's applied to the government to use the old Bastille High School grounds as a parking lot, in fact, the new bus station. Because it will take them out of the gutter, because when the gutter is running, you know what it is. There was a big uproar. Permission was actually given, You aware of it?
No, I'm not.
Yes. The Prime Minister told them that they could use it and they were going to do some renovations so they could have bathroom and stuff for the busmen. Some of them say, it is too far to walk up to the Bastille High School. No, are they on the same level as the Bastille High School when you measure the gut? That would have been better. They were asking to have the thing turned into St. Peter's bus station. And the people making the noise now are the ones who are objecting. Oh, how they could carry them in the air now and the ground and how they could carry them in the air and what the people... we got to make up our mind. You either for or you're against. And to me, it was a good idea because the ground is standing up there. The ground's there. And the people were all excited about having their own bus station. But all who like to play politics. Oh, and I just say that nothing to the grounds and something to the... If you said nothing to the grounds, then you shouldn't object. You see what I mean? If you believe that nothing to the grounds, and the St. Peter's bus station want to go in there, why are you objecting? So now, I hear them say that they're going to give them Carnival Village. Where are they going to put Carnival Village? Have you heard?
No, I've not heard.
I think that's the last thing I heard. The president of the bus station said that they're going to give them Carnival Village. And people make an excuse. Oh, up there is too far from town. We're just lazy, In any country you go, look, you're talking about Washington, D.C.? I went to Washington, D.C. twice to go to the IMF Institute. And they're talking about people walking and sweating. Darling, everybody going to school to work have on sneakers and they have their office shoes in their bag, in case we don't know. Let me say it again to all of the young ladies. You wear sneakers or comfortable shoes because you have to walk to get where you want to go.
All right.
And then when you reach, so stop making excuses. All right, then.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. Let's head back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
I really think that we're going about this the wrong way. We seem to be making preparation for even more traffic in downtown Bastille, when we really should be trying to avoid more congestion and more cars, more traffic in the area, make it more pedestrian friendly. Okay? And the thing is, there are solutions that many other countries have brought to bear on this problem. So it's not as if it's not an age-old problem with urban planning. Okay? What I find is that the government is totally lacking, I think somebody said it, in prioritizing and planning. All right? They govern by putting out fires, which is an archaic way, a totally nonsensical way of governing a country. You know? You plan for as many contingencies as possible, and then you implement. Not implement, and then as the problems come up, you deal with them. That's inefficient, that's wasteful. And it happens too often with the government here. Right? You look at the bus terminals, for instance. Right? You look at how long the traffic lights have been there sitting down doing nothing. And you wonder what is happening. Can't they see ahead more than 5 years? Right? And so, in terms of priorities, obviously, if we've been doing without these lights for how long now? It's well over a year since they were installed. Okay? Then it suggests that they weren't a priority to be put in the first place. Okay? There are other things that should have been prioritized instead of that. And now it seems again that they're going to have some other kind of solution where there's parking on the suburbs, on the outskirts of Bastille, so to speak, and then there'll be some shuttle system or whatever to get into the center of town. And so, the traffic lights are going to become obsolete even before they are being used for any length of time. So I'm just saying that it's unfortunate that we have people in government who are not visionary enough, or they don't follow advice, or they're just playing political and just looking at elections and are distracted by elections as opposed to looking at governing the country. And that is unfortunate. Okay? But, right. I hope that we'll see how these traffic lights work. It's putting the cat before the horse, I think. Like I said, there were other solutions that could have been tried. Take a simple one. You could have kept all the parking on, let's say, Keon and Central Street and make traffic on these streets one way. One going west to east, and the other one east to west. You still have your traffic, your parking, lots of parking, because there are obviously two-way traffic now, so there would always be space for cars to pass without interruption. Okay, and that would help with the flow of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you could have tried that. That wouldn't have taken anything. Even to try it for a month and see the traffic pattern, okay? Rather than take up money, expensive money, and bring in engineers and consultants
All right.
to put the traffic lights. That could have been done after if it was figured out that the original solution was not workable. But it's always putting the cart before the horse, and that's unfortunate.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. We have some more calls. Let's take these calls. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Please call us back at 466-0989 and 762-0989. It is 1:20. We have about 10 minutes left, so let's head back to the phone as we take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, greetings. Thanks for taking our call.
All right.
We heard the sound about proper planning when it comes to people's interests. And we want to make a pointer. No. You got nasty people in there. You got people who are nasty. So, when you set in a place for people to come and catch bus, hundreds of people, 5 days, 5, 6, 7 days of the week, and you do not set garbage bins in that area for people to use, what are you telling them to do? What are you telling the clean people them to do? Eh? What are you tempting them to do? You're shutting here and there. Me I say to the clean people them, you know. The clean people them who travel to Monkey Hill, Shadwell and them other places there. When you have garbage, make a pass down government headquarters or government house up by the cemetery and throw them in there. The nasty people then gonna go and do what them do. Because I saw them live. But the clean people let me talk to. Because we can see a lack of planning where that is concerned. We can see that. And that is terrible. Blessed love.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to this program. We're running down, but we're going to take some more calls here and voices. We want to get your feedback on the commissioning of the traffic lights here in Bastia. Strong public opinion and mixed feedback on this move by the government. We're still taking your calls, so please call us at 466-0989 or 762-0989. We have about 5 minutes left before we wrap up the discussion for today, but we want to get you guys in before we do that. Call us at 466-0989 and 762-0989. So for the most part, I would say mixed feedback. I think what people have been doing is, highlighting some of the foreseeable challenges or highlighting some of the flaws, which I think is fine. I think for the most part, those who, have done so are doing it from a genuine place because people do have legitimate concerns as it relates to the commissioning and installation, the commissioning, that is, of these traffic lights. I was able to witness the some of the frustration from not just drivers but from the pedestrians with the commissioning of these lights, and it was a lot of frustration. I would perhaps say that it could be that, of course the lights are still new and it would take us some time to, feel them out, understand how they work. So it could be frustration from the, not being accustomed to the lights as yet. Let's head back to the phone lines. We have another caller. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Mr. Cornelius, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
People must understand time change. Thank you for having a lot of vehicles now, okay? Stop light, save life, and accident. Either walk and either complain. Too much vehicle sometimes, okay? So people must understand something. You New York and you park up, you have to walk like a half an hour. Park up your car. The place are in a lot of vehicles now, so they must thing on change. You understand? Stoplight, save life. And people must learn sometimes to walk, especially when you drive very often. When they're done, they're going to complain and say their foot and they have blood clot and that. Walking is good. If you're driving all the time from country to town, walk, if you park up and walk a little 15, 20 minutes, the walk is good. You know, it might get better, it might get worse, saying it's having a lot of vehicles. Either complain sometimes, walk in the car, then that fill up your bag. That's all I got to say.
All right, Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. Guys, we're out of time, so we're going to have to wrap up the discussion for today. Let me say thank you so much for your participation in today's edition of Voices. You guys continue to have a wonderful and productive Wednesday. In the midst of all that is going on, the commissioner of the new traffic lights, this political back and forth in team unity. In the midst of all that, give thanks for life. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be here. And I hope that you are happy to be alive as well. This has been another edition of Voices right here on 1FM 98.9. I've been your host for today, Wednesday, March 23, Devon Cornelius. Until next time, you guys stay safe. And I hope to hear from you very soon. Take good care. And I hope to be back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get your property properly covered today. Constructing your dream house or considering renovating your property? We will make sure your property is properly covered at Guardian General Insurance. Yes, at Guardian General Insurance, we will ensure that your property is properly covered with our private dwelling and contractors all-risk promotion. Visit or call us today and get affordable rates, premium financing arrangements. From now until March 31st, 2022, we will properly cover fire, lightning, explosion, thunderbolt, bursting or overflowing of water tanks and apparatus pipes, burglary, theft or larceny, impact by road vehicle, riot, strike or malicious damage, hurricane, earthquake or volcanic eruption, flood, collapse due to subsidence of landslip, loss of rent, cost of temporary accommodation,